So we got the chapter 193 summary from Ducky, and things aren't really looking good for Maki and Noritoshi in this chapter. Like, we talked about it in my previous review, but Naoya has become like almost too strong at this point. But before I get into the summary here, let me just explain what had happened in the previous chapter, because it's kind of important coming into the first bit of information here. So Maki and Noritoshi had continued their fight against Naoya in like his worm caterpillar form, and it eventually got to the point where Maki like wound up cutting Naoya's back. And at that point it was revealed that Naoya was pretty much just a cursed wound, and out of his back came like these like threads that wound up encapsulating him because he started to undergo a metamorphosis. And Noritoshi, realizing this, pulled out like a full bag of blood and wound up shooting through it with like a huge piercing blood. And this was, I guess, able to stop it midway because the shell winds up breaking, but out of it comes Naoya in like this new form that kind of looks like a demonic metapod. But now that he's in this form, he's way more powerful than he was in his caterpillar worm form, which was already pretty powerful. And at the end of the chapter, we see him just level Noritoshi with like this super fast punch that winds up just blowing him away. This is like a serious feat here. If you're not particularly powerful, this is seriously going to mess you up and or kill you. Now that's where we're coming to the beginning of this chapter. Also guys, if you like my Jujutsu Kaisen content, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's fine if you don't want to, but if you just needed a reminder, here you go. Thanks. Naoya is surprised that Noritoshi survives, saying that he meets expectations as the former next clan head. Noritoshi notes that his head and arms would probably have been blown off if he hadn't used a blood barrier to soften the blow, noting that he'll probably die if he lets his guard down even for a moment, and decides to raise his reflexes / control to the limit. So yeah, Noritoshi survived this. I mean, we kind of expected that he would, but at the least I thought he was going to be knocked out or maimed or something, because like I said, that was like a serious attack he was receiving there. I mean, that was like, you know, a special grade attack for sure. But apparently Noritoshi was able to throw up a blood barrier at the last second, which saved him from getting destroyed here. But he's seriously on edge at this point and at a severe disadvantage, because it's saying that, you know, for the most part, he'll probably die if he gets hit cleanly from this point on. Maki shows up and intercepts the next blow, telling Noritoshi that this is what Naoya has fallen to become. Noritoshi wonders if this is what happens when people become curses, if people retain their personalities / sense of self, thinking that he can better understand why Okotsu's Orimoto Rika did, implying that he's surprised that Naoya could as well. So this is a little difficult to understand, but from other spoilers that I read, I think this is like the first time that Noritoshi is realizing that this is like Naoya's Zenin, and he's kind of surprised by that. But aside from that, this is kind of like, I guess, the first time that we, at least the audience, have seen this happen. He likens this to what happened with Rika, who obviously wasn't a sorcerer. But as we saw with Rika, she kind of has somewhat of her original personality, but she has like limited intelligence. Like the way that she talks is kind of like a caveman or something. But with Naoya, he seems to have retained pretty much his full personality. And he doesn't seem to lack any intelligence or any memories at all either. He's kind of just become like a more unhinged version of what he initially was. Maki says that Naoya can use a curse technique, and Noritoshi recognizes it as now Bito's projection sorcery. Naoya starts taking on Maki and Noritoshi. Maki realizes that Naoya is using his technique to hold air in place, then uses his fist to make it explode. Okay, so it's finally coming into play here. We've also been talking about this for like the last 2 reviews, I think. I mean, obviously we knew that Naoya had projection sorcery, but it wasn't being confirmed nor denied that he was able to use it as a cursed spirit. We assumed that, yeah, he would, and it's being confirmed here. Yeah, he for sure has it, and this, you know, makes sense because of how fast he was moving originally. But there's a new application of projection sorcery here with him holding air in place. So one of the aspects of projection sorcery is kind of like its penalty, as to where like when they activate it, they map out what is going to happen in 24 frames. But if they don't follow it like 100% correctly, then they'll literally get frozen in like a frame of animation for like a second. However, if they're able to like touch somebody while this is happening, and the touch was a part of like one of the predetermined 24 4 frames, then that person or thing will fall for the penalty and they'll be frozen in the frame of animation. And as I was saying, it doesn't really apply to just people, it just applies to literally anything. Like we saw Naobito do it to water in the Dagon fight, but we never saw them use it on air. Now I don't know if they necessarily could always do this, or because Naoya is a curse now, he has more control over the curse technique possibly. I mean, he is obviously way stronger than he originally was. I mean, we were even talking about in the previous review, he might be like the strongest curse that we've seen so far possibly. If not, he's going to become it for sure. This is also kind of similar to what Uro was doing against Akotsu in their fight. Like she was kind of grabbing like the atmosphere or whatever, or just space in general, and then breaking it with her ability, and it was like causing like this explosion. But in this case, now he is like trapping air in a frame of animation, and then when he can break it, it just causes it to explode. Then it seems like Naoya leaves, and Noritoshi is surprised, but Maki explains that Naoya intends to speed up and will come at them with his top speed. Noritoshi doesn't want to imagine what that top speed will be, while Maki says that in his immature form, Naoya was hitting supersonic speed. They decide that they'll make the attack and counter it afterwards. Maki tells Noritoshi to stand back as Naoya strikes. Naoya's cursed body has an intake for air as he is traveling at the speed of sound that he then compresses with the use of cursed energy to accelerate even further, reaching a speed of Mach 3. He strikes Maki, knocking her to the ground, then seems surprised / disappointed that he lost to Maki once. So this is like super serious. He's going Mach 3 speed, which is like a little over 2,300 miles per hour, but he's doing it like in an instant. But apparently he's able to achieve this not only just because of projection sorcery, because he has like some kind of intake for air on his new demonic metapod form. And it seems like he's straight up defeating Maki here, or at least the cliffhanger for the chapter implies as such. But I don't think that's the end for her. This has kind of been part of the course with these last couple of battles. Like we get to the point of where it's like, oh my god, they lost, and then it's like, nah, they actually didn't. And also, like we've been assuming, Naoya still has like a final form that he has to show. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Maki and Noritoshi here, if they're going to get some kind of power up or something, or if they're just going to persevere, or just figure out whatever Naoya's weakness is, other than just, you know, standard curse weaknesses, or someone shows up and helps them. But they're for sure going to get out of this somehow, I assume. Or Maki for some reason hasn't been using all of her power or showing the full extent of it yet. Not really sure, but let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.